Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the flight deck. It is Bomber Talk, first edition, and it's Captain Hopwood, and I'm joined by co-pilot Bryce Walsh. Bryce, welcome aboard.
Cheers, Hoppy. Thanks to you for inviting me in today for the first rendition of the Bomber Talk show. Obviously very excited to get straight into it. So
we were excited as well because we were to host Hobart City, what I saw to be a danger game down here at the Bayside Oval, and it was an arm wrestle in the first quarter, Bryce. In fact, I thought they started much the better. We were very fortunate to take a lead into that quarter time. How did you see the start of the game?
Yeah, obviously Hobart City came out with nothing to lose. They set a good scene early and were really into us physically, and Darren addressed that at quarter time, and I think we moved on pretty well into the second quarter.
Now, that's being very modest, young man. We more than moved on in the second quarter, and in fact, we're going to have a look at some of the highlights. We were absolutely on fire in the second quarter. What was a humble start. Then we saw 10 goals being reeled off, and some of the footage was just spectacular. It all started off when Siggins drifted down and booted that goal from deep in the pocket, and then it was just goal after goal. What was it that clicked us into gear there, Bryce?
Oh, obviously, I just think it was the boys just had a bit of a rev up from windy at quarter time, and we just went straight out there and started following the game plan. As you can see, with Jack's fantastic goal to start off with, it was a very good start, and there was something about that pocket down there. Maybe a couple of little spectators from Hobart City giving the boys a little flack, maybe got the guys going. So
maybe it's something to do with the ambience and the air over there. They can get just the flavours of the hops from the Cascade or the Bogues product that's coming from over there at that open bar. They get a little bit of the faithful, and they certainly got a G up. But some of the goals were spectacular, I think, and we've been lucky enough to have some of that here. And gee whiz, there was Cassidy kick 4, Holton 4, Wiggins 3. And Holtz is providing a big target down there, isn't he?
Oh, definitely. Look at the size. You just have to have a look at the size of the fella. He's a big boy, uses his body very well, and is also a very smart footballer. So with him down there and also with Cassidy and Ryan Wiggins, it's a pretty potent forward line.
And some of the new players I'd like to hear of your view, Bryce, that have come into the club. How are they mixing now? Are they sort of becoming part of the crew?
Yeah, definitely. All the boys that have come here are straight into the Lauderdale culture. All of them are great fellas, and none of them are out of place. Obviously, we've got Seb Watson up from Huonville, Will Ford from Cygnet, Reece Sutton from Dodgers Ferry, and the list, Ash Woodhead from Channel, and the list goes on, and they're all fantastic blokes to have around the club, so they fit in straight away.
And they've certainly stepped up to that different league, haven't they? They would have been used to a little bit of a slower pace, and given the very strong pre-season that we've put in, I think they've adjusted well, haven't they?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, it's always a step up if you move up a league in football to the higher level, but with Drummond's program over the pre-season, that's really got the boys in great shape, along with the game plan from Darren Winter and along with Cameron Thurley on board now. It's really held the boys in good stead.
Yeah, it certainly is. And one thing that I'm really, really pleased is with we see Bell Chambers there just bowing to the faithful. It is those younger blokes that are stepping up now, like your good self. We think of you as a veteran, but Brycey, you're at the ripe old age of 21 and best and fairest winner for the club. All of those players can only see us go forward, one would suspect, this year.
Yeah, definitely. We've always had a very good junior pathway, and very privileged to get in to the senior group when I was a young fella, and now I'm one of the more senior fellas at the club. So it's me to got to start taking up some of the younger fellas under my wing, which I'm loving at the moment.
That's fantastic. And so we saw some of the highlights of that second quarter. For the rest of the game, I think Hobart City put a lot more numbers behind the ball. Yeah. It was certainly harder to score. Did you find that as a player out in the middle of the ground? Because it certainly looked like that.
Yeah, definitely. They had a couple of guys sitting behind the football, but I think, we still got a couple of things we need to work on that we didn't quite capitalise on. If we could play how we played in the second quarter, Hoppy, I don't think there's any side in the league that could stop that, because that is exactly how he wanted to play in a nutshell, and you saw it happen on the scoreboard. So I think, we just need to continue to play consistent four-quarter football, and I know we'll be very hard to stop.
Well, the game went on, and of course Lauderdale came away with a very good victory, Bryce, and it was Lauderdale 17-10, 112 to Hobart City 8-16, somewhat inaccurate, 64. And I mentioned before, so for Lauderdale, Cassidy 4, Holton 4, Wiggins 3, a couple of spectacular goals from tight in that pocket. Plant, Woodhead, one of the new boys that you mentioned, McManus and Bell Chambers, Waller and Siggins. So it was really shared around. And the best players, Cassidy, who I thought, by the way, mate, it was fantastic up forward, wasn't he? Really provided a good target. Plant, Heavey, so co-captains doing a great job. Siggins, Wiggins and Hill. So a fantastic win there, and you must be looking forward to getting up to Launceston next week.
Yeah, definitely. It's always a great challenge going up north and versing the northern sides, and also a really good bonding session for the boys on the buses and so forth, because we don't really get to do that too often. So really looking forward to getting up there and versing a very strong Launceston outfit. They'll always put up a fight, so hopefully we can look after the result and continue forward onto this quest.
Okay, Bryce, thanks very much for joining us in this edition. Well, I think it's time now that we have a little bit of a break, and there's no better place I'd rather have a break at is at Windy's and have a nice fresh coffee before we come back with the Junior Report. Welcome back to the Junior Report, and that was a fantastic break, Henry, down at Windy's Bakery. So, we are joined now by Henry Hopwood, who is the newly appointed Junior Development Officer for the Lauderdale Football Club. Henry, welcome aboard, and how are you enjoying the role?
Yeah, thanks very much for having me, Andrew. It's really good to be here. But yeah, it's been fantastic the last few weeks, been involved with all the juniors around the clubs and surrounding clubs, getting involved with all the schools and stuff like that. Yes. It's really rewarding seeing kids having a crack at football, and hopefully we're able to get a few numbers up in participation rates hopefully soon. So.
Fantastic. So tell me, you encompass the whole zone for Lauderdale, which of course goes to South Arm, down to the Tasman district, and as far up as Swansea, I understand.
Yeah, absolutely. So with Lauderdale, we aren't just in the Lauderdale zone. We sort of go up around Rokeby, as far up as Swansea, and also down to Tasman as well. So reasonably large zone. So
you've visited most of the schools, and is the retention rate? I mean, you're getting a lot of reaction and doing a lot of courses within the schools?
Yeah, absolutely. Every school that I've been to, all the kids have had an absolute ball. So hopefully we'll have a lot more participation going into the clubs as soon as possible.
Okay, so you're doing work within the schools, which is fantastic, and I also understand doing some very good work within the junior clubs, not only Lauderdale, but I understand you've been in touch with Sorell and Dodgers, and more importantly, I think you were doing some ruck work down at Sorell Juniors the other day.
Yeah, down at Sorell Junior Club the other day with the under-13s, doing a bit of centre work and specifically ruck work with the young fellas down there, which is really good. They did really well, so
good
to see them progress through the ranks for that.
Well, that's the whole idea. We're trying to develop the zone, so if there's any fine young footballer out there, we can give them the pathway to follow their dreams. Of course, we had young Mitch Robinson, who went through our junior ranks and playing with the AFL, and just recently Joshy McGuinness, who went through Lauderdale. So you're trying to aid in to identify that, but more importantly, even just to get the numbers up. And I also understand, just in closing, Henry, that you did some fine work at Rokeby High School with the young girls as well, which is a really thing that the AFL 9s, I think, and also the girls competition is something you're going to try and target.
Absolutely. The girls in football is a big target for AFL Tasman at the moment, so that's something we're really trying to encourage, get the girls involved, like just because football is not just for us boys, so it's for all genders, regardless of sex. So, yeah.
That's fantastic. Well, Henry, thanks for joining us. That's wonderful. So that's about all here from the Captain Hopwood on the cockpit and now co-pilot Henry. But let me say that this week we are on the road. We're going up to Launceston. For all those travelling, please drive safely so that you get back safe and sound, ready for the big clash against Clarence on the 30th. And don't forget, after you've watched that one, make sure you get a table together to come to the quiz night. Stay safe and get on and back the Bombers.